happens with pain? Well, first thing is there's damage to the tissue. There's an accumulation of oxidative stress, inflammation. And if we look at this as the body, uh, the body must have electrolytes in order to communicate, right? So there's communication that's occurring within the cells, within groups of cells, and then through the nervous system, between the brain and the injured tissue. And when inflammation occurs, the distribution of electrolytes in the tissue changes. This will either increase or decrease the resistance in the tissue. This results in a blockage in the flow of bioelectrical energy through the tissue, and the brain interprets this as pain. So this is a feedback mechanism, and it's very important because we don't want to injure tissue that's damaged. So that's why the pain is there. Say, hey, got an issue, stay off that knee so we don't damage it further. So the approach that modern pharmaceuticals has taken is let's block those signals so we can reduce the pain. And in very, very serious injuries, modern pharmaceuticals are fine. We just don't want to live off of them. One thing to consider is that when someone has let's say a catastrophic injury, they'll often say, I don't feel any pain. And then an hour later, they really get hit with it. Well, how is that possible? It's because the body has increased the production of beta endorphins, which are up to 30 times more powerful than morphine. Wow. So our bodies produce biochemicals that allow us to cope with intense amounts of stress and pain until other methods can be put in place. So the idea here is let's work with the body's natural system, reduce the inflammation by elevating antioxidants to protect the tissue, and let's restore the natural tissue conductivity and natural signaling so we can reduce the pain without masking it. So how do we do that? Well, it all starts with the energy in the cell, which was the very beginning, very start of my research. And the idea behind this is we're going to stimulate the skin with specific wavelengths of light that increase mitochondrial function. In this case, it triggers what's called beta oxidation, which is fat burning. We get more energy from fat. The increase in the ATP in the cell increases the electrical charge around the cell. And long story short, we've measured this in our clinical studies, which people can find. They're published studies they can find in the science section of our website. This results within seconds, 10 or 15 seconds, a change in the tissue conductivity and the reduction in pain. That process starts. So this is why when people apply the patches, very frequently, within seconds, they'll say, hey, my pain level is already coming down. And that's because we're doing this bioelectrically and not pharmaceutically. There's a very interesting study that we have. We have, I think, 18 clinical studies that we've done over the years on pain management. And we did one study with Dr. Pierre Volkmann in France. That's an incredibly interesting story. But the net end outcome is we have a study that's on our website, 100 people, double-blind, placebo-controlled. And the outcome of that study was that by just applying our patches, people got 65% reduction in pain. And this was from a very simple patch protocol. The doctors were not allowed to move around the patches and even follow our instructions. They just put the patches onto the body to see what would happen. Even just doing that, 65% reduction in pain in 94% of the participants. I challenge anybody to find a drug that is that efficacious without any side effects. The drugs don't exist.